Sometimes when I'm sort of led to come onto the phone here, it's because what I feel through my heart and soul at the time in which I just do it. I just put it out there because of how deeply I feel about things that I've known since I was a little boy. Okay, and this is you've heard me say this is where the rubber hits the pavement, right? And there's a number of different ways that I can help others sort of translate this, right? Um, Particularly when you have, through your own experiences, what's known as a shell game, hiding, okay, secrets, hiding, okay. So another way that I translate that is like as if they can really hide from the first musician, or if you will, the grand design, the divine blueprint, okay, the first creators. They put it together. The ascended masters, if you will. Um, and so, one of the things that I was very aware of, actually a lot when I was a child, but I've mentioned this before in the past about technology and particularly artificial intelligence and how technology integration and then the word that we call about immortality that is sort of echoed through a number of those movies, particularly Hobbs and Shaw. Oh, we got immortality through artificial intelligence and all this, right? Um, and I've known this since I was a child that it's ultimately finite. Okay? It's all finite. Okay? Because it means that they're not experiencing a true source, eternal, unconditional love, connection through their own consciousness, through their own soul, led by their spirit. So when I put a couple of obvious pieces of information together on how this is easily translatable, is when I became aware of exactly what I was supposed to become aware of and who I became aware of it through, which was when Patty Broussard, a Micmac shaman, had mentioned that they killed off the teachers here. Okay? Oh, man. That's like killing off God's messengers. Okay? That's like source messengers being killed off. So you know there's going to be accountability for that. There has to be. And so you know that it's only a matter of time, because that's what they live on, is borrowed time, jumping between lines, using the technology and the ships that they have because of the technology that is driving them, instead of what is the natural soul growth, spiritual development that occurs when you're learning through love. And learning through love and living spirit from a spirit in physical form or in spiritual energy form with a soul that loves you because you're experiencing just how deeply they love you and will care for you and will nurture you and provide for you as much love as you need in all the ways and all the creative ways that we know how to do that, so that you have an opportunity to experience just how powerful that magic is that created the first template, divine template. That's us. I'm an Emerald Guardian. Okay. So I knew throughout my life, I implicitly trust my journey because you already know, like in the movie The Knowing, you already know they're finite. And even though I realize that when I say these things and I share who it is that I am by virtue of what I experience through what I learn through others that I'm connected with, is why I cried an ocean of tears throughout my entire life on knowing what ultimately happens with their energy. Because as I've mentioned before, like with Misha, she's not going to lose anything that she didn't already start from, which is the purity, which is the innocence, which is the essence. That's why they feed on the essence. Okay? That's why these crimes of what we experienced here, okay, are on such a level that when I was a child, I actually felt that it was impossible that anything, that our blueprint could have actually gotten this bad. And the reason that I know that is because I helped build it. Okay? And so that's one of the reasons why for a number of the years, from childhood through my teenage years, and I've told this to my clan mother, was trying to heal everything in the universe so that everything in the universe would experience what love is again from which it began. So for a number of years, I carried with me an enormous amount of anger. And when you're running a hot mirror, which is the pure light that you feel through your heart and your soul and your spirit, that anger is directed at me for not having done enough. Okay? To have prevented what happened that we now experience here. As if there's not a fail-safe, but there is, naturally. And that's why when you saw the portal that put cosmic level spirit, this is a cosmic level cleansing. No one's going to escape it. Okay? Which means nobody's got anything to lose. Because when you're experiencing the purity through your own heart, because you're experiencing the purity of unconditional love that you have through your own heart and soul, just like when I was a little boy, and I experience the same thing now. I've always said I was born in heaven, so I've always known the source from which I experience what it is that I am in energy, which is eternal, unconditional love, which means I've chosen to serve forever on behalf of the all creation. So we don't discriminate anything within the all creation, what we're always giving love to, because it began with us. Right? And so the math has to work, the music has to work, the harmony has to work, and the spirit in the musicians. So what happens is, because of the knowledge that they have of going down the technology pathway, because I love the way that Asha Diane in Fall of Metatron, and if you go to the 46-minute mark, she nailed it right on the head. Okay? See, beings are intelligent enough to know that the behavior and how they treat others is not going to be approved in the eyes of God, the camera eye of God, the first God, if you will, the one true God, Holy Father, the breath of fire and living spirit, into the mother of creation, joined as one. That's what I am, the one, the monopole. Okay? So that means that when you're experiencing that within your own soul matrix, then it means that everything that is around you, that is running through you, the all creation, means that we are equal unto all that we give love to. So when they're experiencing something that is less than what that is, or they're choosing to do harm to others, right? And they eventually know at some point, if they have not corrected their behavior enough to experience and recover their spirit with their soul by soul fracture after soul fracture after soul fracture, they're going to keep losing more and more of what they were once aware of, that they were giving love to, and now they're not experiencing any love anymore as a result of their own consciousness that went dark, unaltered. So now, in knowing that they've reached a point of what's known as finite, which means they're not experiencing eternal unconditional love through their own heart, which means the source from which it all began, then they know that they're living on temporal time space. That at some point, they ought to be intelligent enough to know that there will be a cosmic level cycle. Oh, that's not going to happen for another 475 billion years. I don't have anything to worry about because you know something? As each tick of the clock goes by and I continue to be able to experience what it is that I am, this is where we get into immediate gratification, or what we call self-indulgence and a perversion of nature. So now you get into the difference between the acceleration of technology and becoming immortal through technology and artificial intelligence and the systems that they built, right? Versus experiencing the God source, the source from which it all began, to experience what love is. So I use it a different way and say it's called cheating the system. They're trying to cheat their way around the universe. And the reason that they do that is because they don't want to do the work because of what they've done to others. And as a result of that, it means that they're always living on borrowed time. So that's why they're always cutting deals with other beings, trying to escape the hangman. Which, in simple terms, simply means the ultimate eventuality of accountability, which is known as coming full circle of fire, which is the center point from which it all began. That's where we're at. So if you want to see, I put this up in a couple places with friends of mine that are very dear to my heart, including Karen Ann Luke McDonald, and told her that I was aware of this when I was a little boy. Right? And why I'm still here. But I've always acknowledged throughout my whole life, we can't do the work for you. Right? Because I'm not you. Okay? And I don't impose my will on anybody. Because it's sort of natural, you think? That if you have a certain level of intelligence, right, that you could figure that out on your own. Basic common sense. Right? And that's why it's so painful. Because it's like, how could you not know? With the ultimate outcome. Oh, well, heck, I can hang around for the next 40 billion years through the use of technology and what I know how to be able to do and all the alliance I have with all these other alliances, cheating the system. Because that's what it is. And so these alliances and what they've been allowed to do, and when you add it all up, because I added it all up, you can see what happened to the template. It's gotten completely corrupted. Okay. When you have that many beings that can no longer be trusted, that are cutting deals all across different galaxies, okay, it's like trying to, how do I put that, stem the tide of inevitability. It's like trying to put, it's like a dam that's leaking here and it's leaking over here and it's leaking over here. Put a cork here, put a cork here, put a cork here, put a cork here. And it's like, man, I mean, the old saying, the writing's on the wall. That's why I used to say to a number of my friends, what we used to call them limited shelf editions. All your Blade Runners, Super Soldiers, all those folks. I mean, when I had a guy, I guess his name is Tina with Galactic Talk, tell me that when I'm mentioning these things, that I'm full of lies and all that, that's a benchmark. That tells you how bad it is. And this guy's hooked up with the ACIO. So, I told my clan mother, that's fine. But this is another measurement of how bad it got. And that's why everything we're experiencing right now is like knock, knock, knock. Right? Love wins. And so it naturally should and does. So it's what's beautiful about it is that you realize that love will always go on. It's an eternal blessing. I share it with everybody that I know because I'm still here. I still experience that through my heart and soul every day. And so the best way I know how to be able to share that by living that and knowing that is being what that is. So there isn't any mistake. When people meet you, they know who you truly are. They know who you really are. Right? Because you're not trying to hide nothing. Right? You're truly expressing your true free will because you have so much love in your heart. It's like you're a little boy again, a child. The innocence and the purity of a child's heart. So when you're going after the innocence and purity of a child's heart, that's like going after the heart of the grand creator itself. Okay? So you got to know it's going to come a day. Right? Accountability day. Accounting for the things that you do with your consciousness. Right? It's the way it works. And naturally, the universe is naturally going to protect itself. Okay? So there's, it goes back to what I've mentioned many times before about accelerated learning. Okay? Learning through love, when you have a soul and a spirit, you are going to accelerate, your magnet's going to accelerate at a higher rate of speed, which means your feedback, your ability to learn faster. Now your magnet's running at a higher rate of speed. Now you're experiencing what? More voltage. Now you become a self-generating power station. Right? You're going to learn faster, learning how to be able to do that and become a real living star through another living star with a soul and a spirit that loves you. Right? So you know that love is the most powerful teacher. So when they want to cheat that system, knock that system out, kill those teachers off, knock classrooms out, pervert them, change the grid around, and do all the things that they do, ultimately there's always going to be accountability. Right? So they try and cheat their way through the system, believing they can keep getting away with it because the technology and what they know how to do, jump rooms and all the rest of it, add up all the tech. Right? So anyway, I had to get that out because it was very powerful. Things all of a sudden, it's like, hey, I watched part of the Fall of Metatron. I watched that, what was it, 4 years ago, Mama? 5 years ago. I didn't watch the whole thing through. Sometimes I have other things on my mind. Right? And maybe I'm always supposed to be hit by something that I know deep in my heart and soul. And then given where we're at right now and what I'm experiencing right now, particularly on the Big Island. And then all of a sudden there it was when I moved from watching one thing and there it was. And the line on the screen had stopped right at 45 minutes. And I thought, okay, bang, hit the start button. And that's when she mentioned implosion. And then return to innocence. Bang. Yes, sirree. So I thought, I was thinking of this lady, Asha Diane, right, who's an indigo. I thought, I've been one of those barking crystals saying that since I was 4 years of age. Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. So I can't be accountable for the things that others do, but I can certainly be accountable for things that I do. Right? That's why love is a law. Do no harm. Right? So you can see the casualties on here. And this is like their last hurrah. Remember what Hillary Clinton said one time? If we don't get our way, it's not like they don't know. So I was very aware of this as a child, actually, different increments throughout the years, going from the 50s into the 60s, to start measuring the increase because it's not like they don't know. It's like they're in a race against time, trying to develop more ways, okay, to demonstrate to the source from which it all began more of how worse they keep getting as a result of trying to cheat. It's much like the way that you could describe that conversation that Mr. Smith had with Neil. When he said, I seem to have a connection with you somewhere, Neil, the one. And it's your fault. Which is like saying, it started with you. Okay? You put together the grand design, the divine blueprint. And yet, here I am, trying to kill you off. And it began with you. Plug in artificial intelligence, Blade Runners, Minority Report, Rise of the Machines, everything you see circulating on the web now, and everything comes full circle, which is the full picture. Right? So anyway, I wanted to share that and put it in a public way. And I've said it before, this is a cosmic level clearing. Okay? There's nothing stopping it. It's like the handle was pulled. It's like when certain things reach a certain level, we built in. It's like a switch that goes. You know, I mentioned this before. When things get to a certain level that can be detected, that's it. It's much like saying when Patty said that God took the gloves off, right? Well, the cosmos took the gloves off. Okay. Anyway, I love you all. Have a great night. Be good to yourselves.